Top of the batting order coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. Mets have been held in check tonight. Defensive move for the Jays. Ernie Clement comes in to play third base, replacing Will Wagner. And Brendan Little, former first-round draft pick of the Cubs, comes on to pitch the 8th.
You're going to see a lot of sinkers from Little. Has a high ground ball rate. Sinker slider.
So Lindor turns around to bat right-handed for the first time tonight. He's only had 3 right-handed at bats so far this year. And he takes a sinker down for ball 1. Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. I mean, you understand them bringing in the lefty because they want a left-hander against Soto, but it means you get Lindor as a right-hand batter, which is his better side, and you get Alonso against the lefty. I mean, they tried it yesterday with the other left-handed reliever, Mason Fluharty, and he gave up doubles to both left-hand hitters he faced. So John Schneider trying a different route with a different lefty. And he falls behind on Lindor at 3-0 with Soto and Alonso to follow.
Yeah, he's got a nasty sinker, but you got to throw it for strikes at some point.
Last year averaged 3.7 walks per 9 innings over his 49 appearances for the Jays. And Lindor takes a pitch, and it's ball 4, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat with Soto. Well, this is where the job that Huáscar Brazoban really comes into play. The fact that he was able to hold the Jays off the board for 7 outs and giving the Mets a chance now with their big boppers up in the 8th. Soto's gone 0 for 3 tonight. Flied out, struck out, grounded out. Tying run at the plate. And he takes it down. That's 5 straight out of the strike zone from Little.
I think you got to make him throw a strike before you even offer. Even the great Soto.
Soto had reached base in each of the first 7 games for New York. Looking to get on base for the first time tonight, and Little misses again with the sinker, and it's 2-0.
With each successive ball, plate gets smaller, target gets almost non-existent as the pitching coach comes out.
Pete Walker out to talk to his pitcher. Side-arming right-hander Nick Sandlin is up in the bullpen, but remember, with the 3-batter rule, you got Soto at the plate. Alonso's got to face the lefty, and then you got 2 left-hand hitters with Nimmo and Winker. So it really makes you wonder why they've got the side-arming righty up in the bullpen.
Well, just if Little just disintegrates here and cannot throw a strike, you.
Well, Soto's sitting pretty with a 2-0 count. Pete Walker, the well-regarded pitching coach of the Jays, who began his career as a Met.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Came out of UConn. I think he was a first-round draft pick. 2-0 to Soto. Lindor at first and nobody out. And he checks the swing, takes a cutter for a strike. 2-1. Soto discussing it with Emil Jimenez. This was Juan Soto pin night. Trying to put a pin in the Blue Jays. And knee-high sinker for a strike, and now it's 2-2. So he's little after the visit from the pitching coach, finding the range with the last 2 to get even on Soto, with Alonso looming on deck. And Soto punches one toward the middle. Base hit. Lindor to second. He'll pull in there. Soto didn't get much of it, but he was able to float it past Jimenez into center field, and the Mets have the tying runs on base with nobody out.
Soto is pretty amazing. He is not swinging the bat well. He never was in that at bat and still produces a hit.
So the Mets get yet another opportunity with a runner in scoring position. The
ball was a sinker and it ran in on his hands, but still strong enough, and his teammates marvel at how strong he is to muscle that to center.
Mets are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Alonso, with the tying runs on base, stands in with nobody out and takes a fastball with the letters for a strike. 0-1. He has struck out twice and flied out. 3 home runs in his last 4 games. A home run here would send this place into bedlam. And Pete with a check swing, he went around on the curveball. After all those sinkers, Little unleashes his knuckle curve, and now he's ahead on Alonso 0-2. Brandon Nimmo, the on-deck batter. Lindor at second, Soto at first. Nobody out. And the curveball sits outside, 1-2.
He's trying to stay away from the sinker maybe with Pete. Remember, Pete's strength is down.
He's been handling the ball away and hitting it hard to right field. Lindor dancing off second, drawing Little's attention. Brendan Little, first-round draft pick by the Cubs, pitched only 1 game for Chicago, and then landed with Toronto last year. 1-2 coming. In the dirt with a curveball, and now it's 2-2. So he threw a really good curve for the second strike, but he has not gotten Alonso to chase the last 2 out of the strike zone.
Gonna have to raise his sights a little. He doesn't want to go to 3-2. This might be the pitch for Pete to handle.
2-2 coming. And Pete goes down swinging on the curveball for the first out. So Alonso is struck out for the 3rd time tonight. 1 away, and now Brandon Nimmo.
No knowledge of a pitcher with nasty stuff. This is the result.
So Little, after giving up a walk and a single, strikes out Alonso, and now he'll face Nimmo, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Had a run scoring double against a left-hander last night. And Brandon takes a sinker down for ball 1. Chris Bassett went the first 6 2/3 for Toronto. No runs, 4 hits. Jimmy Garcia, 1/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and a walk, but got out of a bases loaded jam. And now Brendan Little trying to work out of his own jam. Nimmo cracks one to center field, chasing Straw back, and Straw makes the catch, tagging at second Lindor. He'll go over to 3rd. Nimmo hit it solidly, and on another night maybe that flies over Straw's head, but not on this night.
Straw was playing awfully shallow too, and he ran that down, showing his great defensive abilities.
So now 2 out, runners at the corners. Jesse Winker is due up, and he's going to bat for himself against the lefty. They have Tyrone Taylor and Luis Angel Acuna as right-hand batters on the bench, with Marte having already been used. But Winker's going to get the opportunity here. So a good night at the plate with a double and a triple. Tying runs on. Mets are now 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Winker trying to change that up. And he fouls off Little's first sinker, 0-1.
Wonder if that at bat off the bench from Marte, which wasn't great, coming off the bench cold, sways the decision of a manager and says, hey, let me stay with the guy that's in the game, warm, hitting well.
Winker has not afforded all that many opportunities to face lefties, but he hangs in there pretty well against them. Lindor at 3rd, led off the inning with a walk. Soto at first, he's singled. 2 out. 8th inning, 2-0 Toronto. And Winker tries to hold the swing on the curveball in the dirt, and he stopped it in time. A ball and a strike. Kirk was able to flag that ball down. And the third base umpire, Gabe Morales, said no swing.
Toronto bench thought he went. Did he go? Could have called it.
It's the one rule for which there is no guideline in the book.
That's right.
That may change one of these days.
Yeah, full interpretation, maybe with ABS.
Well, they're starting to use the technology to try and define what is and is not a check swing. It's something that's in the works for future years.
I've asked many umpires. They tell me the same thing, all of them. Did he offer at the pitch? That's how they try to go about it, but it's so subjective.
Right. Just ask Wilmer Flores.
Oh, my goodness.
Second at bat of the season for Winker against a left-hander. One from Little, and he swings and misses at the curveball, and now it's 1-2. Jesse has 14 career home runs against left-handed pitching. Brandon Little got himself into this mess. Now he's a pitch away from getting himself out of it. And Winker drives one out to right field. Back goes Springer to the warning track, and he can't get it. It bounces away. In to score is Lindor. Soto scores to tie the game. Winker heads for third. He'll have his second triple of the night. Jesse Winker has tied the game with a 2-run, 3-base hit. What a night for Jesse Winker. A long triple off the fence and right. Springer is hurt. He chased that ball and it bounced away from him. He was able to pick it up in time to get it in to prevent the inside the park home run, but he is shaken. Jesse Winker had not had a triple since 2021. He's now got 2 tonight.
Hanging breaking ball from Little. Winker thought he got him. He was posing there, and I thought it was out of the park too, but it stayed in. And you see Springer almost like he banged his knee up against the fence, trying to make a miraculous catch. Face plant as well. And by the time he got to it, down to his knees. Of course, Soto looking at it, he thought maybe it was gone too, and then he's got to get on his horse. But that ball got so far away from Springer, he scores easily as well.
I mean, the Jays were fortunate that Springer was able to have the presence of mind to pick that ball up. Otherwise, Winker might circle the bases and the Mets might have the lead. So a 2-run triple for Jesse Winker ties the game in the bottom of the 8th. They'll bring in the right-hander to face Vientos. We'll be right back to Citi Field. George Springer being helped off the field after running into the fence, trying to chase down Jesse Winker's game-tying triple.
You know, we started this game in the first inning, Gary, talking about how difficult it was going to be on the outfielders all night long. Epitomized here by the attempt by Springer that results in an injury.
Nathan Lucas will come into play right field, replacing Springer. And Nick Sandlin, the former Cleveland Guardian, sidearming right-hander, comes in to face Mark Vientos with the go-ahead run at third and 2 out.
He had career highs in almost every category for the Blue Jays last year.
Vientos snapped an 0 for 17 with a base hit his last time up, and takes the first slider outside from Sandlin, ball 1.
My apologies, I saw Sandlin, of course, with the Guardians last year, but career high in just about every category.
He was part of that great Cleveland bullpen last year. Winker at third with 2 down. Mets have tied it here in the 8th. And that slider in for a strike to Vientos, 1-1. Mark got a base hit to left center his last time up after striking out in his first 2 at-bats, and Edwin Diaz on call in the Mets bullpen, with the Mets having tied the game here in the 8th. 1-1 to Vientos. And Mark goes after a slider out of the strike zone. It's 1-2. Sandlin will throw that slider almost half the time. He's throwing 3 in a row to Vientos. See if he tries to surprise him with something else.
Usually guys that throw from the side, you have to protect against that sinking fastball in on your hands, but Sandlin doesn't throw that pitch. Mostly sliders, occasional four-seamer, and a splitter.
1-2 coming. And Vientos lays off the slider. 2-2. By the way, Jesse Winker hadn't had a triple in 4 years. He has 2 triples tonight. Last year, Lindor had 2 triples in a game. Nimmo had 2 triples in a game. And before that, nobody had done it since Ahmed Rosario in 2018. Winker not the most likely candidate. And Vientos goes down swinging on the splitter by Sandlin. And the inning is over, but the Mets tie it on Winker's 2-run triple. We go to the 9th with Diaz coming in.